Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jill, otherwise known as the Enlightened Target, and this channel is devoted to narcissistic abuse awareness and recovery, parental alienation, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and anything and everything associated with those three main topics. Today we're going to talk about a different aspect of narcissistic abuse that isn't talked about a lot. Today we're going to talk about neglect and how the narcissist uses neglect as part of his or her overall plan to get you and keep you in line with exactly what they want. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I would like to invite you to please subscribe and hit that notification bell because I put out new videos every week. Also, if you are interested in narcissistic abuse recovery coaching, please visit my website or send me an email. Both are linked in the description below. So today we are talking about the role of neglect in narcissistically abusive relationships and how the narcissist brilliantly uses neglect as a tool to get you and keep you in line with their overall plan. Neglect is a very powerful tool that all narcissists use to groom and condition their victims, and it's critical that victims understand that narcissists groom their victims just as any other predator grooms a victim that they want to gain control over, which, by the way, means that they know exactly what they're doing. I hope everybody really hears me when I say that, because this abuse, this grooming, is absolutely intentional. It's premeditated, it's calculated, and the narcissist is very much aware of exactly what they're doing, which is one of the most difficult aspects for victims of narcissistic abuse to wrap their head around, but it's the reality. At the core of narcissistic abuse is psychological abuse. And let me tell you, neglect is an incredibly powerful, psychologically abusive tool that all narcissists utilize to one degree or another. So let's explain what neglect looks like when the narcissist uses it. In the beginning of the relationship with a narcissist, remember, they are love bombing you and mirroring back to you the version of themselves that they know you want to see. During this time period, the narcissist gets his or her hooks into you. Many times we will believe that we have, met our soulmate. Then the narcissist will start to implement a devalue cycle. And this is the time when they will slowly start to integrate the use of neglect. So for example, he or she might not return your text messages or calls back for a longer period than the normal period that they used to, or they might not show up for a date that you had planned and opt out for going out with friends, or they might start to get short with you when they're on the phone with you when they're at work, which is uncharacteristically like them. But they slowly start to change the pattern of how they have been treating you using subtle neglect tactics. Understand, this is all part of the grooming process. The narcissist is intentionally doing this. It's designed to throw you off, upset you, confuse you, and of course, if you mention it to them, well then, they'll just tell you, you're being ultra sensitive, they're busy, they didn't mean anything by it, so you need to lighten up. And this is usually how it begins. They are also gauging how much of this we will tolerate before we say something, how easily they are able to blame shift their behavior on your overreaction, and how often you overlook what they are doing. Next, the narcissist might throw another cycle of love bombing at you, which, by the way, is also designed to throw you off balance, confuse you, and get you to believe that they really are this wonderful person you fell in love with, and that maybe this strange behavior of theirs before is just really you overreacting or being super sensitive, which of course it's not. What you're feeling when this happens is your gut instincts and your intuition that you always hear me telling you about to pay attention to. And it's telling you something is not right with this person. But because they alternate back into the love bombing cycle, we typically will fall for it. And now the trauma bond is being established. The trauma bond is built because of these cycles. It's called inconsistent reinforcement. Actually, the formal word for it is operant conditioning. Hence the word conditioning, meaning this is a grooming process. The narcissist knows that their intentions are to exploit you, and they slowly want you to get used to not expecting anything from them while you continue to cater to them and try desperately to get them to reciprocate the care and consideration that you treat them with. So the cycles begin. And at this stage, you are officially being intentionally and methodically abused and manipulated. As time goes on, the cycles of neglect and devalue will get longer and more intense, while the love bombing cycles will become shorter and lower in frequency. Usually, because this is such a slow, insidious process, we are unaware of how things are progressing as we accept more and more and more of this treatment over time. Sometimes we call what the narcissist is doing here as breadcrumbing, meaning they'll throw little breadcrumbs of love and affection at you, mixed in with neglect, which in turn keeps us running in the never-ending hamster wheel, trying to achieve the smallest crumb of affection and love, which of course is the narcissist's goal. Now they're starting to get you right where they want you, which is expecting so little of them while you're busting your butt daily to gain the smallest kernel of reciprocation. I often refer to neglect as the narcissist's most powerful secret weapon because it's disguised. It's not flat out abuse that you can identify and label. And of course, if confronted and pushed into a corner for their neglect, they always have a somewhat reasonable answer for why they forgot or overlooked or didn't realize whatever it is that you are wanting or needing from them. And then they confuse you even more by blaming you for feeling that way. You're just too sensitive. No one else would have this type of reaction. So therefore, they aren't responsible for treating you with absolute disregard and disrespect, but you are responsible for being so unreasonable and sensitive. Not to mention, neglect is such a powerful communicator. Nothing gets the message to a victim that they are not important, not relevant, not a priority, not valuable quite as well as neglect does. The narcissist gets the message to us loud and clear without saying a word. And my friends, this takes such a serious toll on our self-worth and self-esteem. Neglect is a very, very powerful emotional and psychological abuse tactic, and you must really understand this so that you start to comprehend this is intentionally designed to groom and condition you to expect less and less from the narcissist and give more and more and more of yourself in hopes that he or she will occasionally reciprocate. But because they do this so slowly over time, many times we're unaware of how truly methodical and calculated this manipulation tactic is. In closing, all narcissists use neglect as part of their toolbox. Narcissistic parents are famous for neglecting their children. Then on the rare occasion, showing up and dazzle their child with their presence. Narcissistic partners, spouses, siblings, bosses, friends, they all use neglect to get and keep you stuck in a state of confusion, keep you stuck trying to please them, and get you accustomed to being the only one who gives of themselves in the relationship. Neglect is a nasty and very effective form of psychological maltreatment and abuse. And in my opinion, neglect is every bit as harmful and devastating as any other form of abuse, maybe even more so, because it communicates to the victim that they are so irrelevant They are so disregarded that you aren't even good enough to be on the narcissist's radar. I know as a child, the physical and emotional neglect that I was at the receiving end of from my malignant narcissistic father was just about the most painful and harmful part of what he subjected me to. At least when he would verbally or emotionally abuse me, I knew he at least cared enough to interact with me. Neglect makes a person feel, especially a child, absolutely worthless and abandoned. It's so harmful. So please, if you are consistently being treated with neglect by anyone, understand it's not okay. This is wrong, this is abusive, and this is intentional. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Also, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone.